Good evening, TNT family. Welcome back to Yellow is the Code on UNC USA. And I have Mr. Suman Singh here with me, and I also have a gentleman by the name of TJ. TJ, you are the Lavantil, right?
Yes, I'm from Laventer.
Right. So just give us a little feedback of how is the mood in Lavantil with the election results and how your people are doing out there.
I think everybody was pleasantly surprised. Majority of the young people up here seem to be really happy with results. It's just one or two of the older folks still stuck in the old ways and believe in the old time, long time PNM. But
Right.
generally, everybody is happy with the results.
Right. That's good to know. I can see that the young people really mobilized in this election, and they remember Auntie Kams, what she did for them, giving them laptops and trying to help them advance themselves. So we have the gentleman who was involved with that laptop project, um,
I
here with us. So Mr. Suman Singh,
yes,
you can say hello to Mr. Suman Singh. Mr. Singh, you could kind of just reiterate a little bit what you did for us with that laptop project.
yeah. Hi, how are you doing, my friend? Welcome to the UNC USA Live. It's good to have you on site, so you could give us a little feedback, but a little background. I was the one who did the laptop project in 2011 for the SCA students and also the 4 month students who entering high school. We bought 20,000 laptops, 16,000 for students and 4,000 for teachers and administrative staff. And as you can imagine, there were several little hiccups during the way because it was a new project. We were not ready for it from the communications point of view because TSTT was limited in the expansion drive, so it was a lingering issue until they were able to upgrade the connectivity to the schools and so on. Um, Also, we had time to redo and refurbish and in some case extend computer labs in the school, make new ones or extend it to two and three other labs. So there were a lot of little teething issues, and then we had to train all these teachers as well in trying to, upgrade their skill set. And on top of that, we have to find at least 142 lab technicians, computer lab technicians, to be stationed in the secondary schools where the labs were. So all these things took some time, but you know what? It was an excellent project, very well thought out, and had far reaching effects as far as education goes. In fact, over the last couple of years, we may have seen some of the outputs of these students who in their early 20s now, or 20 to the 25 age group, I'm sure, are very skilled in their computer work, so making them much more employable and up to date in the technological area. So it was a good project, and foresee that going forward and doing the same thing all over again now will only enhance the literacy of the students as far as technology and computers go. So, with that, there's a little background on the laptop project, which is one of them which I did.
I think a lot of us, like my daughter and some friends I would have had, some young people, they benefited a lot from that laptop project.
Hmm.
Even though it came to an abrupt end, um, I think it assisted a lot of them in understanding how PCs function, and it was, well, because of it. a lot of them went further and had to go and get qualified and certified to get good jobs out here.
Nice.
So
Nice.
really and truly, it was a plus. So I had to say thanks.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks
we
to
benefited a lot from it.
yes, but I'll tell you what now, with with us going forward now, it's even more crucial that this new group of students get um, upgraded as quick as possible in the computer technology, because it's moving away from computers now, and the new trend is in AI. We are a few years behind in the AI initiative, because the my calculation is about 8 to 10 years behind. But we're close enough. We can play some catching up if we can accelerate this program at a faster clip, and also changes in the school curriculum and so on. So we get students who are really coming out not only in technology, but also in things like social media and social media marketing, doing things online, using AI to do a lot of things, from education and
Yeah,
health.
absolutely correct. Yeah, absolutely correct. Because I am also I electrician technician, and I do smart homes for people.
Yes,
And
nice.
the AI programs where we have there, which is like Alexa, and we even have this new one here now, which is Gemini,
Mm-hmm.
and Bixby and all of them. They interact a lot with like the devices that I would install for people, so you don't need to actually touch a switch, touch your television, your remote to raise volume or whatever. And I think, yeah, we need to start to educate the young ones on how these things function, because we really are a little bit behind. I have had people come by me and they see stuff and I mean, they're blown away.
Yes.
And to me, it's like, it's how you not knowing about this. And I think because of the fact that they was left back because of the laptop and the advancements in technology, I
Yes.
think that is the cause of it.
Yes. Who knows? The nice thing with the AI, as you get more um, skill into using AI and so on, you will be able to develop a lot of different apps to, um, you know, could be global or new. So things like home security systems and all these nice things. Who knows?
I agree 100%.
We might have to do away with the burglar proofing now and let AI do the night watchmaning for us in our homes, right around the four corners.
I
I
don't
know.
think so
I
yet.
think we still need the burglar profile.
Yeah, I think so, because AI might just watch somebody go in your house and tell them, hey, they go on with everything.
No. It will alert you. That's what I think.
Yeah, it go alert you, but it go alert you after.
I know. I was
After the fact.
I'm just kidding with that.
I understand.
Yeah, but it's all over in all aspects of life, every single aspect of life, but not as much as in the medical field, where it has taken over literally all aspects of medicine.
You know, unless you have a robot security at the house there, and it tells
Yeah,
the intruder dead or alive, you're coming with me.
we have had a lot of these advanced countries now have developed humanoid robots as acting as soldiers. We used to only
Well,
think of this
we
as
might need it in Trinidad. They rate the police go in.
no, see, each one keep one of this in the gallery home. So, they can spot you from far, day or night.
We have them here. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Hey, good
We
night,
have
doctor.
Welcome, Dr. Parumara. Sorry.
yes. How everything? Okay.
Good,
Speaking
good,
about
good.
the soldiers, of AI. Here in Caracas, we have one. We have about 4 of them in the metro. I don't know how you say train station in Caracas.
Mhm.
They are
In the
functioning
metropolitan
24 hours.
area.
Huh?
It's in metropolitan area. Yeah.
Metropolitan area. You have them in the where the train goes. We have them there. And yes, they are programmed here in Venezuela that they are training, or they have an experiment todavía, an experiment today of these robot soldiers. Already in the United States and Russia and these places, they have robots already.
China, India,
China.
line and border
The
areas
risk is,
and so on.
the risk is less.
Yeah.
Now, the AI in medicine or security is very advanced. As I always say, as medical scientist or medical doctor, the prevention is better than a cure. We
Yeah.
can prevent a lot of harm coming in from using the AI system completely. Because if you put a security guard there, yes, he's a man, he's human, he have to go to the toilet. That simple missing there, that simple missing, something can happen.
Yes.
Now, they touch me sometimes in emergency and in intensive therapy unit where you have to be. There are cases that where it touched me several times that where I have to be watching the monitor,
Mhm.
right? And if I just move my head like this, I will make mistake. There
Right.
can some brain activity. We have to put a medication or something. Now with the I don't have to do that.
Specific.
We had was to have there. I remember there was a child, 2 years of age. She got an encephalitis, and we had was she to change every half an hour. Every doctor to be there constantly, and you could, if you wanted to go to the bathroom to urinate, you could not do it.
Yes.
Now
Correct.
with the AI, I'm positively sure that we will have less human mistake. That is a surety thing, and we have much more competence in monitoring these patients here, right? So you can tell, yeah, the patient is getting weaker or getting heart failure or will fail, and you run. You understand? The running will be less, but we are more sure in what we are doing with this new technology. No,
But the diagnosis too, as well.
the diagnosis. Yes,
Yes.
that
You know,
now.
but the greatest impact it has had on medicine is the coming to market of drugs, new drugs in the medical field.
Mhm.
Normally, to get a drug on market, it used to take about 12 to 15 years to bring a new drug into market. Let's say a new hypertension drug, it takes about 12 to 15 years.
Or
With
more.
the or more. With the coming of AI now, these companies, a lot of companies are doing it within 3 to 5 years. So there's a cut down it has saved you 10 years of work. Why? Because with using the robots and so on, they work 24/7, they don't get tired. So instead of
Yes.
having one human shift from 7 to 3 or 7 to 4, the robots take over and continue for the 3 to 11 and 11 to 7 shift in the morning. So they are doing 2 shifts. Humans are doing 1 shift. So the time factor has been reduced by 2/3 because the robots are doing 2/3 of the time. All the different formulary and different outcomes and so on, with a high degree of accuracy. So a lot of drugs, new drugs are coming to market at a much faster rate. Let's say about 5 times faster, 3 years instead of 15 years.
Yes.
So
Also, as a medical doctor or scientist, the AI will encourage me to learn more because there I will look at it as a competition, because he will say some things that I don't know and I will know some things that he might not know, right? And I say he or she, because we don't know what it is really.
it neutral
Yes.
gender,
Yes. So it is a learning process, constant learning process where it will avoid me here in Venezuela. Every year you have to do actualization in medicine. You have to go through a lot of studies first. Sometimes you have to do 3 months of study every year. Now I'm looking at the AI system, the artificial intelligence system, that will avoid me a lot of this. I have to dedicate 3 months of studies and do not work, because studying medicine is nothing easy. This is nothing easy to do. Now the AI will avoid me doing that. It will be constantly renewing my knowledge
Yes.
every day,
Every
right?
day. It's changing so fast. I mean, the guy, he had a neurology in Mount Sinai. He told me, he said 2 years ago, just 2 years ago, this thing was just about 70 something percent accurate, and now it's reached to 94% accuracy level. Within the next year or so, it will cross 100% being accuracy in predicting, or diagnosing cases and so on. So, it's moving at such a fast clip. And, by introducing, I should say, by reintroducing computers in the schools and so on in Trinidad, it's going to provide a groundwork, better grounding for tackling AI or understanding AI or doing AI as subjects and training and so on. So it's going to exposure. But if you do not have the computer training, which is like, if you think of it, you're doing maths, and that comes like the tables. 2 times table, 3 times table, 4 times table. If you don't know those things, how will you do mathematics?
I think the technology has to work alongside us in the monitoring of the patients. It will help us keep better control. I mean, Dr. Parum could tell us that, but as far as I've seen in my little basic knowledge is that it would help in the monitoring of the patients. Everything will be documented and tracked, and the notification will be quicker. Where if something going wrong with the patient, you get quicker notification. You analyze the patient's status. What's going on with them. You can how to say, you analyze their what's going on with them in their body. I mean, you have better technology to analyze the heart. I've seen some information now where they have become so superficial in the heart surgery and how to say, analyzing what's wrong with it. I mean, they're seeing things that they couldn't see before. So they have advanced so much. So all that is, if all that is computerized, that information and is in the computer, the doctors has that to work alongside. That will be so superficial.
You see other things. What I see with the advantage we will have and the benefit we will have. If you notice in the health system in Trinidad, when you go to Sandy Grande Hospital or Port of Spain Hospital or whatever hospital, they don't give you the results that you have from laboratory. They don't do it. Why? Avoid these people have their private business, and they avoid you from going to the hospital to take out your how you say, your exam, because by law that belongs to you. You have right to that information, and they block you, so you cannot give that information to go to a second opinion. No, you have to go to their office. So the AI, when you have the AI nationally, there is someone nationally can go internationally.
That's the my chatting we have over here. Yeah.
Yes, it can go. It can go, and you have better diagnostic of the patient. You don't have this monopoly where you have this only one set of people using the patient as a client, right? Now, our Prime Minister, Kamala, when in her terms, she tried to introduce technology into the country, giving children laptops, giving children the technology. Now, these youths, I wish they can be better than me. Don't pass through the tribulations that I passed through. That is what she is doing today, right? You and I, we had to see it book, but with the AI, they have more knowledge. With the computer, they have more advanced. They will be a more advanced. Look, imagine a child now with a computer and he has his AI. A child, when he reach my age or your age, what type of person will he be? How advanced he will be?
Super intelligence.
I
Right.
mean, in seconds, you go on Google and you find, you pull up the
Absolutely
information you're trying to figure. You want to know what the weather is, you want direction, you have a question about anything, you can research it in the internet in seconds. You know, so
Yeah.
all of these things, I mean, you know, your parents don't have to buy a whole volume of, how to
Books.
say, encyclopedia back in the day. You know, this guy's going around in Trinidad selling the encyclopedia, and they had like 12 books or something, like a dozen books coming around. But anyway, you know, what what I have seen here is that, I mean, there's a vast difference with what Mrs. Bisesa tried to do for the country, and I think there's a better understanding now where the people have suffered so much under Dr. Rowley. You see the PNM now realizing, you know, the people wasn't feeling loved, the people wasn't feeling cared for. The PNM don't care. The PNM wanted to keep you in with a leash around your neck, just feeding you enough, not giving you the independence. Now, Tim is here. Tim is from Laventille. So, Tim, what what are your people looking for up in your area? What is needed? I want to get a better understanding of what's happening in Laventille there, what you guys are looking forward for, and the needs of the people up in your area.
Well, generally, the people up here, we feel unappreciated. Yet, the majority of the youths up on this side are looking for jobs because they try. A lot of them come out on the road and they set up and they try to sell to make a living. They come out and they look for jobs. But I think employment is number one because everybody want to take care of the family. They want to start a family.
Mhm.
They have a family. They're looking for some kind of stability in their life. And right now, unemployment real high up here. So a lot of the youths, I think, they're looking for basically for jobs.
You know what I'm hoping to do, and I've said it on a show I used to be on before. What I'm hoping to do is that, first of all, we get the place cleaned up in your area by getting the collaboration of the people in the community, right? The people in the community helps to make the area feel safe. What I'm hoping to do is to sell the idea to make the tourists come off the boat and come up in the area for the things that you are selling, whether it's the guy making the drag brothers guy or any arts and craft. You know, people come into our country must, you know, we have the technology. They could be advertised on social media or on, you know, I mean, like a website, whatever. The kids can learn how to do these things and they market themselves. So now instead of you having to go look for a customer is coming to look for you. And being that how you have organized your community, your customer feels safe coming there. You know, the place is clean. You know, it's enticing. You know, these are the basic you know, business how to say ideas that, you know, that would make a business succeed. You know, I mean, we do that here in the US. You know, you have to make your supermarket or your restaurant clean, the bathroom clean. You provide a level of safety, your nice customer service, you smile with your customer, you treat the people. So these are some of the things I'm thinking about. You know, I've seen the people of your area got kicked out, trying to sell little goods around the city and things that we're gonna have to change that. We're gonna have to
Well,
change a lot of that. You know, they think
well,
they're
I
goods.
I agree, but you know, generally, a lot of people just believe that Laventille is not a safe place, and Laventille is a place to keep away from. But you know, it's so amazing that these people who just be on social media, all the foreigners and them, just come into Trinidad and they just come straight in Laventille, interview all these so-called bad boys, all these so-called people who want to be some leaders of whatever God alone
Right.
knows.
And
And
nobody do
and
them
it does
anything.
not have to, they don't have to worry about nobody coming to shoot at them, nobody coming to rob them, nobody coming to do anything. They understand that a lot of times is fabrication. because Laventille is a place.
And then the fight is between the guys themselves. There, not with the people outside.
Yeah,
But
it's
what I'm
not
saying
with
to you is,
it, and
I,
it's not what even really between the guys and them here, because long time they would have had one or two people, just like in all the other areas and all over the world that don't see eye to eye, whether it be for turf or whatever the case may be. But Laventille, we don't have that. We most of I could walk out any hour of the morning, any hour of the night, and walk the road in Laventille. Women, children, everybody. We don't have to worry about that because Laventille is a community where everybody knows everybody. I know your grandmother, mother. You know my family. You eat in my house. I eat in yours. So Laventille, most of the people in Laventille, we don't have to worry about that. If you see a child walking the road and somebody looking to tell the child something, you want to know, what is it telling the child? You know? We don't have that war where you might go other areas and you're fighting after a certain hour. You're saying, look, let me look to go inside. Not in Laventille. You could come up any hour. I could go out the road right now and I could go and sit down and them fellas them liming and drinking and they talking nonsense and somebody go walk and ask me, you want beer? You understand? They had the love. But it's just that I think a lot of people still have it in their mind that Laventille have plenty gangsters and criminals. No.
Well, I mean that image was projected out there, and then there was a lot of reason to kind of to cause people to think that way. But what I'm looking at is with the technology, you guys has the capability to market your company, whether it's the pan, whatever ideas that you have. You could create. The young people are good at creating robotics and different things that that they're very handy.
Robotics.
Yeah, the kids are good at these things, and whatever idea they have, because of the technology, they can market this, and and then they get the support to enhance that skill. If a person is good at robotics, they should be encouraged in that direction, and that should be recognized. The local community resource has to be restructured.
Being real, I know about the robotics. I know we have a lot of mechanics.
Well, I'm just showing a reference, but you might not know, but the younger people, you'll be surprised as you find somebody in your community who's interested in that.
True.
And you will be surprised, and so whatever their skill is, I'm just showing a reference that the technology, if they get the right guidance, these things can be sold into the community, sold internationally. The idea that they help market it because they have the access to the computer technology, they have the access to Wi-Fi, they have the access to electricity. Like some of our children under the PNM couldn't get electricity in this day and time, with billions of dollars spent in the country, and Rowley and Church going to have the audacity to try and chastise anybody. 10 years in the country, and you want to talk this day, man, cover your head with a piece of cloth and go somewhere and hide now. You know what I mean? Talking about the hope the UNC don't do this and the hope the UNC don't do that.
You don't even see an MP and thing in these areas here. They don't see them. You don't see them at all.
Man, I fed up. I within the last couple years, I fed up getting complaints about the beatam and that sewage water that was coming down in the people's kitchen, and I've seen videos.
You don't see them. If you have an issue, let me give you an example. I have a wall here where I live. The wall is the government wall that bound with the road. My wall is on the inside. That we be during the last set of bad weather. This wall now it's been moving for a long time and the wall fell. I went to the corporation to come and to fix the wall because it's the government's wall. They are telling me, no, the government don't have no money, You need to go by self-help and when you get him check from self-help, you bring it to the corporation, give us the check. We would take the check now and go and buy the materials and provide the labor to fix the wall. So in other words, I must go and beg for money to give the government to fix their wall. And then now I have to find my money now to go and fix my wall after.
Yeah, I'm happy you bring this kind of information out, and all of this happened under the PNM because they
Yeah,
fatten themselves, right? They fatten themselves, and now they're going out there and running about, oh, I hope Kamala do this and I hope Kamala do that. Kamala have a track record. She have
yes,
a
she
track record
does.
of performance, and she
Yes,
treated
she
everybody
does.
equally, and everybody's going to be treated equally under Kamala Prasad Business Administration. She spelled it out from day one. No
I
nonsense,
rem-
zero tolerance.
I
Yeah.
remember once where I work, we had a grand opening, and she came and she did the opening. And when it was time to leave, she was passing next to us, and her officers kind of tried to move us across her security detail. And she came and she moved her security detail, and she said, someone told her that we were the workers who did the job. Actually, that was for the scanner, the portable, the mobile, not mobile, the container scanner. That when they had the issues where they found the drugs in the orange juice or whatever it was, and they built the scanner. And she came and she moved her security detail and come and shake everybody's hands and says, thank you. She understand that you all are the real people who did the work, and she gave appreciation for it. Now, since where I work in there, under the PNM regime, you don't get that, you know. You don't get the appreciation. You don't get nothing. As far as they're concerned, you come to work, you do your work, and if they don't pay you, they're happier. I mean, it's song and mean, but
King and Maharaja kind of attitude.
yeah, it's song and mean, but I mean, at the end of the day, the is how you make the workers feel. They tend to feel unappreciated.
You see,
Well,
a donkey always watch a horse, and he will always say to the horse, "You're a donkey too," you know. You know,
True.
you're right. So this is what is going on. They don't see talent in our people. They will always look at foreigners coming into the country or go to a foreign country, and they will look up to them and say, "Hey, you good man." But our local people, the PNM government does not invest, is not interested in improving our youths today. Now, you say you have plenty mechanics. Yes, that's good. And these fellas with the AI technology can learn electromagnetics, electrical mechanic, in which we will be, which will be in 10 years from now. These fellas will be key process to, who knows, from Lavanti.
Yes.
Those little boys started to make local cars, electric cars. You don't know that because I always know a scientist really and truly comes from, not from always from rich people, you know, not always in a palace. They come from areas where was neglected by government and them things like that, and they had to go. Look,
Yes.
I leave
Correct.
the country where in PNM time.
Yeah.
I
You know,
had was to
necessity is
left.
the mother of all inventions.
Yes, but you cannot. If I had the help that I needed in that time, I would be far off. But I didn't have it. I was to do on my own. Now um, as leaders or assessors help these youths to get out in the lights and be better than us. When we have that intention, the country will be improved. When we have a prime minister that cares about the people, we will strive. You understand? We will have success. But when you have a prime minister only playing the fool and talking about this and that and parties and drink a scotch or whiskey that costs almost $100 one drink, he don't care about anybody. You understand? He don't care. He have no needs. He have no needs, and he don't feel the needs for the other people. I remember when
he was
Lavantil
totally
did not
heartless,
have
man. Was
water.
totally heartless.
Yes, when I remember when Lavantil did not have water, Mr. Basdeo Pandey, may God bless his soul, came up there when they win election, came up there and he himself, I don't know, or make the ceremony opening to give water supply to Laventille area. I remember that news. I remember that. You understand? And the PNM government, they ain't doing anything for anybody. You understand? So Miss Kamala, our beloved Prime Minister now, she don't care if you were from that side or the side, you're going to be treated equal and you're going to have technology for everyone there. And is a woman that has a lot of intelligence, right? A person who is free others. A person who is a slave, he enslave others, right?
Correct is right, my brother. Correct is right.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we just want to give your people some opportunity to come forward and say what they're looking for. We'll do a couple more programs with you on board, and you could invite anybody who wish to talk about what they're looking for, what they're hoping for, what are the needs out there. So we'll
And
keep at it.
also what they think is the solution, because a lot of times technocrats think they have solutions for everything, but most of the time solutions come from the man on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Good solutions, because they are in tune with what the problem is on the ground, and they will tell you exactly. It doesn't take no big engineers to tell you that the drain, how to do a drain here. The locals will tell you where all the water coming from and where you could put the drain to be more effective than anywhere else. So
The boss lady spelled that out. She said the people is the solution, not the problem.
correct, yes. So coming back
Absolutely
with the
correct.
computers again, that's why I'm saying that was a very far-sighted and innovative project, and we've seen the fruits of some of these here today. A lot of students have upskilled themselves or became skilled, and better workers in their ability of using the computers in their workspace. Now, that 10-year lapse, who knows how long that has pushed us back. And now, with artificial intelligence, computer knowledge is the groundwork of it, is the tables, if you could think of it as the tables. So if you don't know your tables, how can you go forward and do your math, your arithmetic or your mathematics? So it's the same way. If you don't know your computer setup and the technology in it, how can you go and do AI? So you see how far-sighted and knowledgeable that program was when it was instituted in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have a bunch of people who did not have that exposure for 10 years, from 2015 to 2025. They did not
Major
have
Just
that.
pick it out.
Major setback.
So you can imagine now, my friend TJ is talking about mechanics, but I'm sure he knows that a lot of cars these days are either hybrid or electric, and the
Yep.
whole world is moving in that direction.
But
So
not
your
only
guys,
that, the brain box and a lot of them is all
correct,
electronics.
all electronic, the brain box in all these vehicles, they no
Yeah.
longer, that's what I'm saying, cars with plugs and points, and every 5,000 miles you have to change this and that. No,
Yeah.
look at the Ford Ranger. You run it 100,000 miles, then you change the plugs.
Yep.
So these are the things. There's an old way of doing things, which is also good, but there are new ways now, of identifying and troubleshooting things because of the new technology. Now, whether it's good or bad is not for me to say, but if that is what it is, that is what it is. You have to be occurrent in your surroundings.
Yeah.
So that was such a far-sighted project that, 10 or 20 years down the road, then we will see the importance of having that program on now. It takes foresight. Basically, it takes foresight. And if you don't have the foresight, you wouldn't appreciate what it can do for you.
So going forward, what do you all believe the plan would be? Yes, to reintroduce the laptop program,
That
but
is
because of the
definitely.
fact that we have fallen back so far,
Mhm.
how how do you think they could address that and repair or try to bring the
Okay.
youths up to date?
Let me explain to you in simple terms where you can understand. You and your friends are doing a running race, athletics, right? And they started 10 hours ahead of you, and you now started. How are you going to meet them? You, for the rest of your life, you only playing catch up, you know? Because they are way ahead. You wanted to run behind them all the time. So you are only catching up on them. There's no way you can pass them anyway. And this is what I'm saying, that was such a far-sighted project at that time in 2010. People didn't appreciate it, didn't know what it was about. So right now we have found ourselves only playing catch up. We can never get ahead to say, well, we finally catch up. Let's move ahead now, like the rest of the world. No, we can't.
Well, the only thing we can do is, I think it's a good idea, is to set up that after school program, that adult training class, where those who missed out can go back, after the kids get out of school, like say 6 to 10 or 6 to 9, or something like that. So whether they're working during the day, they can go to school in the evening time and advance themselves.
Yes.
Whatever. I mean, there might be, maybe 15 years ago you wanted to become a mechanic, but today you might want to be a computer technician. You might have changed, or you might have become a mechanic, but now we get an opportunity to add some technology to your mechanical skills. So whatever it is, this the after school adult program has something that has to be reinstituted in our secondary schools within the community there, providing the Wi-Fi for that area. I mean, every house might not be able to get Wi-Fi, but if you put a dish within the community there, whether it's a community center or the school or something that people can feed off until they are able to get their own, and this would help tremendously. So I mean that's the one way I see it. They set up a satellite dish over there, you know, so that the people in the community can use that to advance themselves, and they don't find themselves doing things that they shouldn't be doing and get themselves in trouble. That they get involved. You have to start channeling the people into constructive things. You give them an idea of how they can help themselves, and then we start to market ourselves. When we get this all set, then we can start marketing ourselves throughout the Caribbean. I mean, I was on a plane from Houston coming down to Trinidad, and I met an engineer, American engineer there. He said he was heading to Trinidad because we had a better way of refining the oil. Just imagine that. The Trinidad engineers found we came up with a better way to refine the oil. An engineer from Houston, and they will, there's some kind of communication and arrangement between Houston and Trinidad. As far as the oil is concerned, there. I'm not sure what the structure is there as far as the oil industry. You guys might have a better idea what's taking place. But there's something going on there where we have a relationship between Houston and Trinidad as far as the oil industry is concerned.
Yeah,
Uh,
but Gary, people may not know this, but there were just about 150 companies from Houston who do work in Trinidad, all in the Point Lisieux area.
150
I
company.
I had, as a director of tourism at that time, we went to Houston and we signed a contract for Continental to fly into Trinidad. And they
Right.
would fly from Houston to New York, New Jersey, and to Trinidad direct.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Mm.
get back that overnight flight that was canceled during COVID. They did a
Ah,
trial for the end of the year, Christmas time, a 2 week
mm,
trial, you know, and flights was full. So I was asking about getting that back up and running. I've been trying
Yeah.
to get Newark Airport EWR to run direct to Trinidad.
Yeah, I
That's
took
something.
that flight. I took that flight on my way back. But the thing is that instead of choosing Trinidad now, the same run, Houston, New York, and now they're going to Guyana.
Right,
So it has shifted from Trinidad, Continental that is.
right.
Continental is merged with one of these other airlines. I think United, Continental United is
Yeah,
the.
yeah, they merge. I was even trying to work this out with Caribbean Airlines to fly out of EWR here, you know, and so I mean, those people is like they're not interested when you try to talk to them, you know.
And this is what I was saying in the first place, Gary, and Baron as well. You know, we have to know exactly what are the plans of the current government going forward. They may have their own ideas how they want, TNT to develop. They may have their own plans, their own technocrats, their own technical advisors, and so on. So
Well, we're
we
going to present what we think, and it's up to them whether they want to take out of it or not, you know. But at least we should make that presentation, you know. So you know, let's see how the things formulate. We have to give the cabinet a chance to see
Oh
who's who.
yeah, oh yeah. They have a lot of mess to clean up, a lot of structures and systems to put in place, a lot of change of policies they have to put in place, and all these things take time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't see anything much happening within the next 6 months to a year. Very little as far as advancement going. Most of it will be just be cleaning up and investigations and all these things. Um, you
There'll be
know,
some restructuring. There has to be some restructuring.
plenty restructure, especially the work environment and so on, relationship between public servants and contract employees,
And
or
you know
that
how the attitude is going to go. It's going to take a
telling
while
me
for
that
the.
I've been through that for the longest while, as I could tell you, and the
You've seen it firsthand.
constraints,
Yeah.
the constraints that will pose in new government trying to implement any sort of new big project going forward. Because I can tell you from the laptop project, I had so many. I don't want to repeat it all the time, but so many opponents that when you move one step forward, you're going back 3 steps backward. That is how, to the extent on which these things were held back and
No, it's good that you
deliberately
say it.
done.
Somebody who didn't hear before hear it. You know, it's good to say it because so that they understand the challenges that a USC government has when they go there because they have all the party card, die-hard people just in there to obstruct the government.
And they tell you straight, you're a contract up there, you only have a 3-year contract. I'm a permanent employee. You can I don't have to take instructions from you. What can you do at that point in time? So the structural problems, processes, policies, systems, all these things have to be streamlined and complete overhaul on all these things. And my
You, you,
idea, my idea was to bring CEOs of these into these ministries, let them run ministries like a private entity. Have strict performance criteria. Your, you can check performance levels going through. So if someone is not performing, CEO has a right. Like in my Miami here, if you don't know, if Florida is an at-will state. At-will state means an employer can hire you or fire you on the spot for a reason or no reason at all. So how nice that will be, you think, that you go down there and you say, hey, you know what, I am abiding by public service relations, policies. He said, no, I'm the CEO. We implement this law here. I can hire you or fire you straight on the bat for a reason or no reason at all. And only so you have these things, you see how quickly things get on track, and you can start to accomplish things bit by bit.
All right. I don't agree with the no reason fine,
I
you
don't
know.
agree with
I
that
said
either.
this is the law
Right.
here in Florida.
All
I'm
right.
just making the
Right.
reference.
Okay. Really and truly, have to get that reason. I had that same problem here when I became director of the hospital here. A nurse, she had 30 years service, and now she's the boss of a part. And she told me straight she's not complying with any orders from me because she don't agree with of my ways of managing. She does not agree. I say, oh, really? Really? Okay, I just want to improve the service. Well, she have 30 years here. I have 30 years here. I say, okay. I write up my letter, what I have to write, and I go by the law. I say, you are fired, get out. And for the 30 years service, she cannot be fired. So she thinks that she's a god there. She owns that position. Now what I did, I retire her immediately. Retirement immediately. The next day she came for work. Next week she came for work. I told security, don't let her in. Don't let her in. And she cannot get her in. She put me in court. She lost. I retire her. It's just as easy as that. Right? And these people who have who is complice of of terrorism and does not want to make projects go along, they have to be fired. They have to be get rid of. Right? When I say get rid, not kill them, you know. I just mean they have to be get out of the position they are in. We have to put the CEOs in a strategical position that where we can get things done. We cannot have a stone blocking us every time. And when you're going to make improvement, this stone is there. Get off at once. Because Trinidad and Tobago is a Commonwealth country now, today, because thanks to our Prime Minister now, and things have to change and we have to improve by one way or the other. I am not tolerating nonsense.
I wish you all can say
But
the
what
same
if your
thing.
CEO running things to his own emotional aspects, where one day he in a good mood, or he or she in a good mood, the next day they're in a bad mood, and they want the employees to conform to their emotions on a daily basis?
Let me
Okay.
answer you.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me answer you. You know, right now, there are 13 growth poles in Trinidad. Kamla Prasad Bisasa has established 13 growth poles, which will be the development aspects of Trinidad and Tobago. Right? Now, the growth poles have strategic objectives. You have to meet certain criteria. Example, if you take health, I'm just drawing the reference. We must see 500 patients for the day, must do 25 MRIs for the day, 50 CAT scans, 20 EKG, and things like that. So when the day comes and you only do 5, what is the problem? In addition, you say health for all, people-centered health. So the CEO has to drive that particular ministry or department so you achieve what's called the strategic objectives. The strategic objective is government plan for upgrading and developing the island. So the CEO must conform to the strategic objectives. So he come in and don't feel he by himself, you know, he has people watching over him. They will call you up every month and say, hey, you promised to do this thing by March month. Why it's not done? So he has to take the flak. And for he not to take the flak, he has to pass it along to the employees, the workers. So he has to drive the process. And that is how you do it as a CEO. Sure, they can come and say, well, today I'm in a good mood. tomorrow I can do what no. If you do what he wants in a matter of 3 months' time, he does not meet the strategic objective there, he is out the door. The CEO
Right.
is out the door.
Right. All right. And next thing to Mr. TJ, well, I was going to respond to you, no? CEO cannot be any madman or any man with how you say prepotented person. Has to be a person, down to earth person, right? Has to have a very good studies and experience. I also recommend that no CEO or no major position or strategical position are more than 3 months, right? I'm here in Venezuela right now, and every strategical position, we have the technical police, we have the scientific police, we have different type of police. No director of police lasts more than 3 months, or military officers in technical or strategical position last more than 3 months. When a guy comes in new, he wants to do everything and fast and push everyone, right? So the CEO has to know what type of persons or what is his workforce potential are. Recognize the workforce potential. Not with a slave, not as a slave master giving whip to everyone. No, right? Those days are done. So what I'm saying is that person clear in their mind, not have bipolarity mood. One day you're good, next day you're good. No. And our workers or our skilled Trinidadians has to know that they can count with the CEO, right? Not be afraid of them or anything like that. And the people have to be clear that you don't work, you don't produce, you just go out. Give someone a chance who can do the work better, right?
And that is why I'm saying, Baron, workflow has to be measured. Your performance has to be evaluated,
Yes.
and not at the end of the year. It must be done quarterly. So you identify who is working and who is not working.
Who is not working?
And who is not working, find the next job. Who is working, continue working.
Or go to jail. One out of two.
We can't. Well, not only that. Beside that, we can't have people deliberately disrupting the government.
But that's what's been doing. That is what
Yeah.
the way this thing is structured now with permanent secretaries and administrative officer 4, 5, and 2, and all these things they have, is that there's a process. It leaves for the AO, administrative officer 1, to 2, to 4, to 5, and then the PS. That's the structure. So something that don't go from me as an employee, a clerk, straight to PS. No, it has to go to that chain of command. And everyone has to write a recommendation. Whether my project, which I am doing, let's say as a lower grade person, is good, not so good, is it meeting the national criteria and so on. And it can get shut down anyway from the first person or to the 5th person. So what happens? Your best efforts has gone to waste. The project never sees higher up. It has been, shut down in the process. It has been shut down. So that's what I was saying. Structurally,
causing the population to suffer because we could not meet the needs.
Now you understand why.
Right. So I said, we might not go so militant, but at the same time, like I said, there has to be where the minister gets an understanding and have a discussion, whoever the minister is, with the PS and those officers under the PS, and say, well, this is what we're looking to achieve. And you lay it out, and this is what we're expecting because we came into government to do certain things under that premise. And you stick your ground. And if they give you any problems, then you have to address it with the cabinet. If you have to bring it to the population, bring it to the population. But I'm just saying we cannot just let them shut us down because they feel they're big and bad and they've been there and nobody can tell them now. And this is PNM country and they had a party card and they go showy, they go do to showy. Because the majority of the population supported the UNC coalition, in
Mm-hmm.
particular the UNC, right? And the people were expecting certain things, and the only way you get certain things done is certain things have to be done.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be managed in a proper way. It can't be you're going to apply, say you're going to apply for HTC house, and the application taking how many years? Some people waiting 20 years. Why? Why is this application? The application should get a number or something according to the date or whatever it is, and it should be indicated. There should be a follow up on that example on that application. Well, who was that? Who reviewed the application? All that should be information. There has to be a trail, electronic trail. Who reviewed the application, and what steps were taken, what recommendations. Just simple thing as applying for HTC house, right? Because I heard stories of people waiting 20 years to get a HTC house, and you're going to apply for a government loan to do something, and the application gone thrown in the garbage a minute to turn you back.
That's right.
You're applying. You're a farmer and you're trying to get certain things done. For your business to progress, and they're giving you all kind of rounders and making you run all over the place, and they wait on this one, and they're dragging their feet. Like you have to go and kiss their feet for them to do their job. So this kind of nonsense is going to have to cut out. How much we can do, and how much the designated minister is willing to challenge them. That would be decided between the prime minister and the cabinet. How do we
What
deal with this?
what happened by the time you clean that up, 5 years have gone and
Yeah.
passed, and then now, you know what? The same people complain now. Hey, you know what? We don't want this party anymore.
Well, it has to be documented. What was you see these things that we discussed before? It has to be documented. What were the obstacles? What were the hurdles, and how was the hurdles created and created by who? This thing, the population needs an answer. It should not be just swept under the carpet and we afraid to say anything. All this
Yeah,
should be documented. We gave certain instruction to the PS didn't do this or do that. And I mean, the government, like you said, the legislation will have to change where the minister has some authority if the PS is not cooperating with the government's agenda and the mandate that the people was given by the population, then something has to be done. Those discussions will have to be taking place. And we are bringing it in the public domain that this is some of the issues and challenges.
that is the biggest challenge. If they couldn't do it in 2010 to 2015, they could not have done it. They tried, they could not have done it. In 86 now tried to do it, they could not have done it.
We
So
have serious issues with the health sector and the hospitals, and this is something that has to be high priority also to be addressed, because I mean there are too many people suffering, lives at stake, people are dying because they're not getting proper medical treatment, they're not getting it in time. Just imagine, I was showing a reference to by the way, I spoke to the guy who was going to help us with the disaster preparation thing. He's going to get back to me next week. He's traveling right now, so I'm going to bring him on the program. He's
good.
out of Jersey City, and with the ambulance, EMS response training and disaster training. They have a program here out of Jersey City. So we see people get shot, whether they by the police or by criminals. They get shot, whatever it is. The person is being taken to the hospital. They are bleeding. Nobody understands how to stop that bleed and how to help before they get the professional medical help. Nobody in the community is trained to respond to assist them. You've seen police shoot people and throw them in the back of a pickup truck and take them like garbage down to the hospital, right? I mean, even though they are criminal, you cannot legally do that. But now the person is bleeding out. Nothing is done. the police officer, we have police officers here in the US. You guys know that, Suman, that they come with a bag that has first kit things to assist as an EMT too. They
All
have the
right.
things in their bag,
Yeah.
to help. And they have the Narcan in there where they give a person's overdose, they can give you a shot
Shot.
and save
Yeah.
your life.
Yep.
Um, so the police needs some training, upgrade and training also. In a medical emergency here, the police responds before the ambulance. The police is there, and so Trinidad and Tobago has a lot of restructuring to do because
Plenty, plenty, plenty.
the police don't seem the police can't respond to their own job right now. So we have to get an understanding by the time this government gets really set on what they're doing. This is what we're looking for. There has to be some upgrades, with that EMT training, the police train on certain things, and that's not just a bulldog in the force to look big, bad, and ugly.
I understand it. I understand there are like 14,000 cases in Trinidad at this point in time where
Of what?
there is lacking forensic information to convict persons. Where is the Forensic Science Center?
And evidence gets destroyed also.
Where is the DNA legislation?
Yeah, but they have the person in jail waiting.
They had them, and not only that, waiting and feeding them.
Well, the conditions are so good either, because I've seen some pictures and videos.
Yes.
I mean, some people. I've seen pigs in the pig farm treated better than some of these people here. The conditions.
That's right. I don't doubt that. But if this is what I'm saying, there's so much structural things that has to be done, and the first thing has to address is crime and health.
Just imagine people they're ready and responsible for that. Yes, the PNM damn responsible. They're damn responsible for this mess.
But don't blame my jersey. I wear a red jersey today, so.
Man, I come in. Before I come in, I dress up fast with a red shirt. I say, nah, I will not take out this red shirt fast.
Yeah, but let's look at what we were trying to do, right? This was a rescue mission for the country. And we had those, like, they didn't grab the concept of what the mission was. They went and formed their own party. They do all kind of craziness, bad talking the prime minister, trying to convince people not to vote and support. This was a rescue mission. This was a rescue mission to save lives in the country, and you took some very selfish decision to obstruct and derail, this army that was trying to rescue the country.
I don't want to imagine what would have happened had this election gone the other way. I don't want to even think about it.
No.
I couldn't bear to see that. I pray. I said, Lord, oh Lord, you had to convince the hearts. No, we did the job, and that is the thing. You can't sit down and say, people that say leave it to God, leave it to God. No, you do your part, and God will do His part.
That's right.
All right.
Absolutely.
And God put us in charge of this world. So we have a certain amount of responsibility.
You see, the same people who voted for PNM people, they open their eyes and they say, look, Olia ain't good at all, Olia ain't good at all. You understand? The same PNM, same citizen who voted for PNM, they say, no more. Let's go to somebody who really wants the country, who really loves the country, right? Look at these people. When they're in position, they don't talk to you. They don't want to talk to you, right? They're too good to be spoken to. Now, what the crime situation there in Trinidad is very, very high. In the past 10 years, it have increased so drastically, right? You have to.
And every creed and race face the consequences.
Yes,
every creed and race and religion face the consequences.
Absolutely.
Is every creed and race face the consequences at Mount Topo, Port of Spain, or San Fernando Hospital.
Yeah, yeah. And
All
you
are we
see,
suffering together?
you see, these people, they protect criminals, no? Look at Miss Kamala said, a man coming here, the invader invade your house, you have to defend yourself, right? And that is true. That is an international law
Basic, because
in
Thomas
the
and the PN was against that.
Yeah,
yeah, they were totally against that. Or say they giving authority or authorization for the criminal to come to your house. You as a law-abiding citizen, you have to be afraid in your own house because they have authorization or permission to come in your house.
The criminals getting the gun, but you can't get a gun. And the police giving you a hard time. So, but this structure, the current structure, how the FUL is approved, has to change. There has to be some restructuring to.
Look, when I was there, no, you see, a simple cellular phone. These people don't let technology get into the country. Look now here in Venezuela, you find a phone on the ground, leave it on the ground, leave it on the ground, or you can get in jail 3 to 5 years for a phone because they will find the phone wherever. In Trinidad, they don't have that technology. They know the technology, but you have to watch out your back. You have to watch your back 3, 4, 5 eyes you have to have in your head to look out in some places, right? Right? And why? Because they don't want technology, they don't want protection for the people, and it's convenient for them to have criminal activities in the road because it is a way that they have winnings with other company, other security companies. Because if they don't have security contract, they don't have money.
That's right. And who
Right?
are the owners of these security companies?
We all know.
The 1%.
We all know. What a security company doing in prison.
Yeah, but they say the jail mostly have one kind of people, but that one kind of people supporting the oppressor for the past 62 years.
Yes.
Based on what? Based on what?
Yes. Money. All is money. Right? So you telling me as a citizen, I study so hard, I go work, I come in home late after surgery or after hospital, you holding me up, and then after you shoot me or something, or damage my family, I have no rights to defend myself. I go into jail? No. So you take away my gun, what I have to use to defend myself, and giving it to criminals. That is not equal rights. You understand? When you violate a human right, other human rights, automatically you lost your human rights as well.
Correct.
Right? And our Prime Minister said it. A home invader has to be punished. She said it, she will prove it, and that will have to accomplish. Because you cannot take out guns from businessmen, from hardworking citizens, and then don't give them permission, but you're giving the criminals gun. How the criminals get the guns? And you're blaming Venezuela. Guns coming from Venezuela. Who letting it in?
It's not just the guns. Because if you have a firearm, if you have an FUL, and somebody breaks into your home, and you happen to get the jump on the upper hand on that person, and you are facing their back, you cannot offload your firearm on them. The law right now states that you could only offload your firearm if you're facing the person. So if that person,
but the person could suddenly turn and you happen to hit him in the back, that could happen.
No, but then you know how to argue that matter. You have to have camera and footage to prove that. So you defending yourself, and with the current law, you defending yourself and can end up in jail.
The way I see it, from the time a person enter your house, that's a direct threat on your life before they even doing anything.
This is how it should be, but this is not how it is.
That's what I'm saying. There are a lot of things, structures have to be put in place. A lot of policies have to be put in place. A lot of legislation have to be put in place to correct these things. And these are nuances, man. I was so glad to hear they're talking about facial recognition and trying to put CCTV cameras and so on. load up the place. If you travel out in Europe, especially London and so on, they is bombarded with cameras
Yes.
all over the
But we have to work on our response capabilities and the
Mm-hmm.
patrolling. Because you see what that means, the way I see it, if you maintain the patrolling and you maximize your response capability, these criminals that was within a few months that was send a message to the criminal that they have to reconsider their decision because the
Yes.
response is going to be swift, and that is that you won't have to worry about the court being overloaded because that
Uh-huh.
person is reconsidering that decision to commit that crime because the response is so swift they will change their mind.
Swift and drastic. Swift and drastic. Right?
That is where we fall down on the job.
Yes, yes, yes.
so
I'm going to give you another 100 tomorrow.
So what do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I fully agree. But with the camera system in Trinidad, maintenance is a problem. It does not have proper maintenance because if you ever notice, a lot of these footage that we see of criminal activities, none of them is national security cameras, you know. They are always the private person who the police come by and ask, you have cameras? Could we get a copy of the footage? It's like it's like the government cameras never work.
Why? Because the government is criminal.
I think that's deliberate. I think that's
That
deliberate
is
too.
deliberate. They are criminals. That is why they don't have to cover up the nasty work. So that is why you have to go privately. How much does it cost to put the cameras? Why is not functioning? You understand? You put
Yeah.
it there.
In our time, Dr. Munila asked that question, they couldn't get a straight answer.
But the thing about it is, and cameras are not so high maintenance. I have cameras at home, and I hardly have to do anything with it at all. All you do is monitor, and you check your footage every so often. But there's no high maintenance.
Look, the organization where I live here, we live here in you say organization, no? Close community, right? Well, we have drones doing patrol every 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes, changing direction anyway, and it is so cheap, very very cheap. We pay for that. So you say Venezuela is not. They say Venezuela is not safe. Venezuela is one of the most safest place right now because we introduce AI technology in the security system and cameras everywhere. Have the national police or police in general have camera system which is really don't have to do any maintenance. Now I don't know why in Trinidad the camera have to have maintenance. Who bought those cameras? My question. And how much they pay for it? Why does it have to have maintenance? Why is not working? Right?
This is the question. Because as I say, cameras don't have all that set of maintenance. The
No.
only maintenance that I know you might do, okay, is external cameras. Somebody, if you have, which they do have, these companies coming, you clean the camera lens. One, and two, the software is updated, and that is something that is done automatically.
Automatically, yeah. Yes, correct.
So I does not understand when they say the camera is not working. The camera is not working. And that does blow my mind every time. Why? I don't understand.
Because they are involved. They are involved in the crime situation, right? They are accomplices of the crimes. All criminal activity, that government, the past regime are criminals. That is why. That is the answer.
But then to say that is to say that the police involved.
Man, let me tell you something. The police service need to be retrained.
We have had many complaints.
Retrain. You understand? Because you watch me, I'm a law-abiding citizen, and you want to shout at me and blow at my face to give me a taxi ticket, a ticket. But you see a criminal, when you see a
Amen.
criminal, you duck and you hide it for them not to get involved in the criminal
Amen.
activity. Huh?
Amen. Amen. Correct is
Ah,
right.
right. Because that when the criminal come out with a gun, you run and you hide or you duck for it not to see you because you're afraid he shoot you. But I'm a law-abiding citizen, and you
Yeah.
want to shout at me and put me in
Yeah.
jail. Why would you
Yeah.
put the criminal? You
Correct
understand?
is right.
So
And
that is
some of them police
retraining.
and the police younger than you and want to talk to you like if you them is your parent.
Yeah. Well, look at the case as Miss Candice's son. What is happening with her? What went on with her son? And that woman was afraid for her son's life or
Yes.
the injustice
Yes,
that
yes.
was Edward Candice. She's on. She had was to go on TikTok and
Yes.
spoke with Kamala, our Prime Minister, to get protection. And you see that police officer is still out on the road. He's still out on the road doing what
This
he
is the
wants.
guy from Sandy Grande you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So the PNM government allow these criminals to be in the police service. You understand? So the police service had to get cleaned up, right? Had to get cleaned up because the PNM government put in criminals with criminal records to be police officers. They are not to be trusted, right? So if you can look at what I'm saying, Mr. TJ, you will see it is true. Let's make investigation.
I agree with
Let's
you.
make investigation. What I know about the police service and before in Trinidad or in Venezuela, you commit a crime here in Venezuela, being a police officer, if they find the jail time is 3 years for let's say 3 years, you get in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Correct.
You get in 10 years. As easy as that. Because you know the law. You know the law. You're using the uniform. You're using the uniform. So you get in 10 years or more. You understand? Over there, there are criminal activities the PNM government introduced into the police service. Look at how many police officers are being charged with criminal activities. Why had that increased so high? Why? You understand?
Correct.
So this is one side of it in fighting the crime, but the other side is the legal aspects now. You know, that is why I'm saying, why is there no DNA legislation? Why is there no additional forensic centers? Monies have been budgeted for these things 4 and 5 years ago, but nothing has come out. Then what about the the representation of these criminals and so that side of it? Why they don't have night courts and family courts and evening courts and holiday courts and something to clear these backlog of cases? You know,
if you see the members of some of the ministers who was the past PNM ministers, no, and or in the PNM government, who are some of them? They were defending gangsters. They were defending criminals. Some of the ministers there. Look at that. Look at the history. Look at the history. They are some of them are lawyers. When you check up, he defending a big gangster. He come in the position now. What do you think will happen? The gangster will call him, hey, I want this, I want that, I want this. Do as I say. They are puppets. You understand? Right?
Yes. So, this is the thing. Martin, justice have to be swift. The process 10 years and 15 years ain't going to cut it.
No, that has to be done immediately. Immediately. Look at El Salvador, what the Nayib Bukele did. That was very fast. He cleaned up the country, right?
Swift.
Very swift. One time, you cannot be a gangster and controlling a population, telling them what to happen. Look at some about 5 years ago. Some young fellas come here, some gangsters in Venezuela here, where close to my state. They come with machine gun and things like that, and they starting to take videos and send TikTok that they're shooting down the place. What happened to them? In 24 hours time, the whole army come down for them. They come down for them, right? And they're talking about human rights. How it is so terrifying that knowing that you living as a good life, a obedient life to the law, and these fellas come in, these terrorists come in and playing and wanted to control you. Anytime you go in out on the road, they want to take money from you. That has to stop, right? That has to stop. And the government here in Venezuela, they stop them. Now, the crime situation here has gone down almost 80% because the government took drastic decisions, right? Drastic decisions. They also, the human rights persons who defend human rights as well, investigate them and see what they are to. Who are them? Right? Who are them? You can kill a child. You kill a child. Ah, you rape a woman. Oh, you have rights, human rights. No. You go to jail.
Yeah.
Right? Human rights will not defend you there. You here in Venezuela, you kill a child, even the people who are in jail, they kill you just for killing a child. You understand?
That's how it
Child
used to
abuse.
be. That's how
Huh?
it used to be here. That's how it used to be in Trinidad. Used to be.
Well, now they defend them in Trinidad. Look
Yeah.
at the prison system now. When you pass by Golden Grove there, you see all that amount of bush and thing there, like coming like a jungle now there. What happened? The PNM government tell them they can't do hard work, they cannot do hard labor. When you violate the law, you lost all your privilege. You understand? You
Correct.
lost your privilege. You have to go and plant tomatoes, do agriculture, repair them, learn a trade or something there, right?
Yeah.
Learn a trade. So when the man now, you go to the States, what I know in the States, I've been to the States several times, but when they check up on you on computer, you have criminal record, right? Is a negative for you to get good work anyway. You understand?
They don't do rehabilitation, I think, in the prisons here. It's just like a jail sentence and no rehabilitation. Because when these guys go in, they go in for petty crimes and come out as gang leaders. They have no rehabilitation in the prisons here.
They
To me,
got
it's
There has
just
to be some kind of community service for something.
yeah,
And locking up a man and putting him in the jail to become a bigger criminal for smoking a piece of weed.
yes.
That was stupidness.
That is
You know?
nonsense. As
Yeah.
Doc rightfully saying, they need to learn something. You need to learn a trade,
Yeah.
at least agriculture, carpentry, masonry,
Yeah.
electrical, something. So when you come out, you're rehabilitated, you have a trade, you have something to fall on rather than to go back into the criminal life.
They can't go into the regular jail. For the young people that commit some kind of juvenile offense, you can't put them in the regular
No.
jail.
No,
Right?
well,
That is classification. You have here we have classified classification jail. No, you classify who commit heavier crimes. Well, sin is sin, crime is crime, right? Or they break the law. But they have classification that they put this delinquent here, this criminal here, this one there. Their grades. Nobody goes to all at one jail. No, you cannot do that. For petty crime, you cannot put a man in a high security prison, right? You cannot do that. So it's better you put it on community work. Now, these these criminals who are outside and inside jail, they have more health system, they have more rights and these things like that. What the PNM government give to them, you understand?
all right.
That have to stop. Let's make a proper jail system. They go and plant tomatoes. They go do agriculture. They do everything what they have to do. And how we can manage that with the AI system, right? That also has to be introduced there. AI is one of the most important thing that we have to mention. When we have AI, we monitor everything, every cent from every bank. The stealing will be monitored. Nobody will be able to steal, right? So you cannot tell me you go into parliament, you go into there in parliament, and then after you walk out with you just have everything under control with your gang leaders, threatening people. But threatening a person here is a very serious crime. How many people were threatened there in Trinidad?
Hey,
For voting?
I listened to our previous Minister of National Security when they were saying that they did not know who was the gang leaders. In Parliament, I hear this man say that he know who they are and he had a conversation with them and he talked to them and for them to make peace. The police saying they don't know who they is, and he said in Parliament that he spoke with them to make peace. I was like, but how you as Minister of National Security, you know who is the gang leaders, who is the criminals, and you saying the police don't know?
Well, he's a gang leader then. He's a gang leader. You understand?
I was blown away with that. I was like, anybody else hear what that man said? I asked that question to a lot of people. Did anybody else hear what that man said?
Anyway, tomorrow they appointed.
He playing stupid, one, or he against the police itself, right? One of the two. Somebody lying there.
We also had where the police is running gangs themselves, so there's a lot of things to deal with.
Yeah.
You have officers working hard, and you have those that undermining the officers that are working hard.
Yes,
And
correct.
we didn't have the proper structure to an administration in the police force to deal with that, because they allowed the force to deteriorate and become what it is. That happened right under the senior officers. So that bringing an outside commissioner of police was a good idea. It's just that they allowed them to destroy that. When Gibson, he was there. Yeah. But they cry racism and all kind of. Just like when Kamala was dealing with the criminals up in Lavati and Port of Spain, there when the people say we could finally sleep good at night, they want to talk. They want to turn it into a racist thing. So who racist? The police. The police looks just at the criminals. So who was being racist there? The police dealing with the criminals, but they tried to make it all the government attacking black boys. So what color was the police? White?
Green.
So yeah. So but you hear people talking about when the level of security that she provided, how people was feeling so comfortable that the police was and the military was patrolling and they felt a sense of safety. So like I said, the justice and all these things need fixing but for me, the preventative ingredient, I like to put it as the preventative ingredient is most important to me, because I have a saying and a philosophy: justice don't resurrect the dead, right? And none of us is Jesus Christ who raised the dead. So
Sure.
So politicians like to come and give big talk. Justice was served and this and that and the other. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear what is in place. Yeah, I want to hear what is in place to prevent the crime. And like I said, the response, the patrolling must be high level, and the response must be swift.
Yeah.
That's inconvenient for them. That's inconvenient for them, right? They don't want to resolve crime. They make money out of crime, right? Look at the crime rate as well is also a strategy of the government to maintain the population below fright and to maintain them occupied in the fear for their lives while they do their other criminal activities legally. For example, there's a few ministers there has use the government money to buy property and then rent it over to the government. What is that? That is a business or criminal activity? You understand what I'm saying?
Conflict of interest. That's a serious conflict of interest.
You're putting a nice. No. Yeah, hear what I say. That is not conflict of interest. That is a criminal activity. You use the government money to buy a property and then rent it again
Oh.
to the government again.
Oh,
So you getting a little $2 million a month and things like that. But I'm talking about big properties in Port of Spain. Investigate for you to see, no? Investigate.
I know what you're talking
That is
about.
not conflict of interest. That is not
I know
conflict of interest. That is criminal activities that this government has placed it.
Provided they use the government money to purchase the property, yes. That's a criminal activity.
Yeah. That is criminal activities. So
Provided
nobody
that
would
is how
not
the money
get
gets used.
right. You understand? So the health suffer, the health organizations suffer, the police suffer, everybody suffer because of these criminal activities, and they put it so nice and pretty words and pretty ways they do things on the table. No, you think all of them they gone out of the from the government? You think all of them sad? No, they pocket full. They pocket full. The bank account full.
Yeah.
You understand?
Most of them are glad to leave so they can find time to spend the money what they have in their possession right now.
Yeah.
So finish spend it. They can't finish spend it the amount they take.
Yeah.
I am just hoping that this regime make them answer for it.
That's why
Because too many people suffer.
I asked that question before. I don't know what mechanism they have in place, but how are we going to collect the billions of dollars that have been stolen or misplaced, or can it be accounted for?
Put them in jail and they have to talk.
No,
That's all.
yes, you putting them in jail wouldn't get any money. But in the US, they will seize your assets. We need now to start
we
to
had to
seize
do that. We had
assets.
to do that. We had to force them. You see, when they changed the currency and how they force a lot of people to lose their money, we have to make them. We had to make them declare their wealth. They had to declare their source of income. But then, like I said, like Dr. Maraj, didn't join us tonight, and I think we repeated last night. How are we going to find the money to pay for this and pay for that?
But you see, plenty of them have their assets, their wealth outside of the country.
It doesn't matter.
So but depending on the state, it might not be so easy to seize the assets. So the ones that here, we could probably do something. But the ones outside, we need to put things in place to be able to get it back our monies.
That is why we have Interpol.
Why?
Well, we have seen
Interpol works very good here in Venezuela.
But when you have a Swiss account, Interpol can get it?
Huh?
Well, that's Interpol is international police. Yeah, they work along.
But no, when you have a Swiss account, Interpol, it is not so easy to access.
Yeah, well, there has to be court proceedings and stuff like that, but that takes a while, you know.
Yeah, but when you have an AI system on security, you can locate these fellas because they will make a mistake and use a cell phone or some computer to access the bank account because they're so greedy, they want to see the bank account. And now we have an AI system in security. He will say, what happened here? This man who opened this bank account, Swiss account, and you trace him. That's all. That is all. Am I right, Mr. Singh?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember a couple of years ago there was some kind of Panama banking system that there was some kind of investigation?
Yes,
who had
call it Panama Papers.
Right.
Papi.
There was a lot of people who had money there.
Mm-hmm.
So we will have to follow the trail, you know. But again, that's going to take a while. But we're going to find the money. That's how we find the money. We plug the leaks, you know.
Yeah, but Gary, in Trinidad, all these senior public officials supposed to declare their assets every year.
Supposed to. Just imagine we have a PNM justice system, eh? A PNM police force. All right.
I just get cut off from internet there. About you all understand what I say, no? When this fella, I don't know, when they open the bank account from any computer in Trinidad, who opened that bank account? Who opened to see the session there? Right? Because the greed is so much, they want to see how much money they have now. And they will make the mistake. You understand? They will make the mistake and the AI will detect that. So it's very easy to catch up on them. Now, put in the AI system. Very easy. We did it here in Venezuela and it worked. They did it in El Salvador and it worked very well.
Let's see. Like I said, our government has a former cabinet, and they have to put things in order. And
But
let's see how it
tomorrow,
goes.
we'll know, and the legal aspects of the law have to have a strong person there to drive this process of trying to introduce new laws or start to be vigilant in the existing law to make sure senior people, follow the rules.
But
Yeah, nobody will be there to hijack the meritless at this time.
I don't. I think
Right.
I think our prime minister would need more than this 5 years to be able to
Mhm.
really get this thing off the ground properly.
We
But
suggested
once she
15
had the
years.
support of the people, we gonna make it.
Yeah,
You know,
the people have to realize they don't want to go back. They try to dress up PNM with Penny. They like she's she could be some comparison to Mrs. Bisesa, but she is no comparison because she sit back there and supported all the
correct.
nonsense that's done there, and she did
Yeah.
nothing. And let me tell you something about Penny. I had a lady staying with Penny here in New York, and the lady reached out to me when I was helping all those stranded. And she said, Penny walk out. She didn't realize, what she said to me. She said, Penny walk out and leave and she had to fend for herself because Penny got the seat in Trinidad when she was the ambassador here.
Wow.
So I say, Penny here. I say, well, let's talk to Penny. Let me see what kind of help we could talk to, at least get the government to understand what they're doing and what they should do. Man, Penny take off and run down for that seat there and forget everybody here. She ain't help nobody. She has said nothing on behalf of the people. All the people stranded outside the country. Penny never said one thing.
The PNM is a crabs in a barrel, and each one climbing on each other to try to get out.
Yeah, so they can't redress the the PNM and tell me that they're bringing something new there. They tried with Churchill.
Same old, my friend. The same old and same old. She was sitting there in the parliament with everybody else, and they keep their mouth shut.
So we have to choose a police commissioner, and we've seen what they tried to do to Ola Christopher. And I'm very suspicious of somebody trying to sling up. Even though Ola Christopher wasn't the best commissioner, I don't think she was crooked like the rest of them. And I think somebody tried to punish her. But the simple thing that when the prime minister said the police, former prime minister said the police scared, and she said no, them are scared. So that kind of caused a conflict between.
It's not Erla alone. The one before Erla, I can't remember his name, McDonald, right? When they make he resign and retire. When he had turned around and said, all you're talking about my performance, all the illegal weapons coming through the legal ports of entry. Why nobody in watching customs? After he made that statement is when he had us to resign.
Yeah.
Anybody pay attention to that?
Yeah.
After he made that statement and he embarrassed the government by letting the country know that hey, it's true customs, all these illegal weapons coming, And when he made the statement to make him have to resign, within a month he gone.
But not only to customs, the border wide open where any pirogue could come across. Right? How long it take a pirogue to come across back and forth? Right? Yeah, because Venezuela is 9 miles at some point, right?
Yeah.
How you think it take fishing boat coming back and forth? And when them locked everybody outside the country, Venezuelans and whoever was coming across the border back and forth,
they was going back and forth.
any issue?
And it's not just Venezuelans. The Guyanese was going to Venezuela, and then from Venezuela to come to Trinidad.
Yeah, everybody was coming through Venezuela,
and vice versa, back and forth. Because
with no restriction.
I had some Venezuelan friends that they leave Trinidad during COVID and end up in the States. And they have no passport, mind you, when they leave here.
Listen, drugs come from Colombia, pass through Venezuela, but very, very, very difficult way. And then goes to Trinidad, and from Trinidad worldwide. Why? Why
Yeah,
they don't
but that's
go?
it. I mean, you have a mass amount of jungle there in Venezuela and Brazil and Guyana. I mean, you know, they must
But-
find some way, but it's we who fail to secure we border.
Yeah, but
You know,
with the past 10 years now, if you see the drug have increased in Trinidad, right? The drugs, where it passed from and where it goes and how it goes, right? Why from Trinidad worldwide? Why? Why drugs from that they find in Panama came
and
from
the one-
Trinidad?
And they want to privatize the Port Authority now? They want to privatize it and give it put it in a private hand. What does that say?
well, if Cho Chong they become prime minister, he'd have give somebody from China it. What do you think was going to happen?
Well, the things already start because the prime minister at the time, which was been Rowley, turned around and said that he's doing it. He said that he have to do it. He saying the Port Authority don't make no money. So he said,
That's where the more money coming from, man.
You're putting people with
But
party
he don't-
card instead
but he
of
don't pay the Port
capabilities.
Authority salaries. The Port Authority had to find the money to pay salaries, but he's saying they don't make money.
This is a new worldwide trend. The Chinese have gone into big time businesses with ports around the world.
But if they get somebody who was a half Chinese, who do you think he was? What do you think direction he was going with? Who do you think was the wheeler and dealer? He was given, you know, if he had won the election,
But
you know,
but
you think Point Lisa should have been the Chinese
and
one.
they give away the longest street in Port of Spain, Charlotte Street.
Let me tell you something.
That is Chinatown now.
The Chinese have gone into port, buying out ports and financing port development into a number of countries. And when these countries cannot pay back their loan, they have ownership of the ports and they have
Correct.
ownership of certain parts of the city. This is what happened in Sri Lanka. The Chinese
In Africa too, there was some issue, but I think the African president they're making joke, they're kicking them out.
No, they more. It's like you have to mortgage a city to the Chinese when you can't pay the bill.
Yep.
This is what they have. Iran, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, one country in Africa. These 4 areas, Chinese have built the port and control the ports. And when you cannot pay the loan, they seize part of your additional country as collateral for not being able to pay.
Until you're able to pay it off.
Well, you will never be able to pay it off because
Correct.
interests are so high and you owing so much. By the time you pay off, your country becomes impoverished. So that's what they were doing in Africa as well.
I mean, they bring in their engineers. You hire them to do a job. You borrow the money from them. Them bringing their own workers to pay with that same money. It's not like you just hire some, you know, you bring some foreign consulting engineers and your people doing the work. No, their people coming to do the work too. So that everything is working in their favor, and that's the deal. You know, and Trinidadians have to step up on their performance too, because I mean, to tell you the truth, they give too much of trouble showing up for work, doing the work. You know, they take your money and you have to wait on them. There's so many issues to deal with it. They want to come to work, you know, and they're giving you a chance. They make big demand. They come to do a job by you. They want half the money up front, and then they take another job and they're on the other job and they're coming to your job. You know, you know, we tried to hire some trainees over here to do some work too, and it was the most amount of trouble we got. You know, and making threats too.
It's both ways. The kind of culture this past government introduced into the country
for 62 years, 62 years of PNM, really mostly.
Fatal.
You know, because if PPG and BUNC was in government, they still was in charge.
Hmm. Gentlemen,
So,
I think I'm going to leave you all now.
yeah. Well,
It
it
was
was nice
nice.
chatting with you. Anything, listen, anything that you know, you want to bring to our attention, just let me know. And, you know, we just want to get an idea, more understanding about your community. Anything you want to share with us, anybody who would like to share something with us, would like to hear about it.
Not a
You know,
problem.
so all right then. All right, teacher, we'll talk. So,
All right,
gentlemen, I think we could wrap it up here now. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, let's see tomorrow what transpires out with the uh, election of selection of ministers, sorry, to their portfolios. And then probably we might be clearer on how we can approach these things, because as I said, they have manifestos for most of the ministries, and that is a UNC strategic plan, so that the ministers have to follow the manifestos. And if if our plans are included in the manifesto, then we kind of just, I wouldn't want to say wasting time, but we wouldn't have nothing to submit different to these people. So the most important thing for us
all we
is
can do
to,
is give them the support.
yes, give them the support, but we need to be aware what is it in these manifestos, so we can make additional suggestions or other ideas.
So, Suman, maybe you could help bring some of that information and discuss it here so that we kind of re-educate the people on it. You know, you kind of break it down here on some of those manifestos that's in the plan of action for this government.
But they have
You know,
it. They say they have it in the UNC website, though. It's all available
yeah.
on
But I
the
mean, if we
UNC.
discuss it, you know, not everybody look at that website, you know.
Yeah,
So I mean, if we some of the things we can do, I know the challenges are there, and just give them time to settle in. But we could do all the
yeah.
preparation, in the
Not,
meantime to kind of feed them.
nothing is going to happen for the next 6 months to a year. The mess is so much to clean up. Oh gosh, I
Yeah.
feel sorry for these ministers who have, if they're really serious of cleaning up the place, their hands are filled. And
Well,
Absolutely.
the prime minister is serious, so the ministers will have to comply, or they will have to ship out.
well, not only that, if
Correct.
they don't have the legality to back up, like same thing coming back to this Public Service Act and so on legislation, there's nothing you can do as a minister. So these things, policies, new policies, new strategies, new systems, and legislation, these four things have to go hand in hand. Else, you cannot implement nothing. You cannot bring forth change, because you will always find that this person and taking no instructions from you, and you have no authority to do anything to that person. How can you implement projects like that?
Right.
So
Let's see how
it's,
it goes. Tomorrow night we will chat. We
Tomorrow,
will
yeah.
review. We
yeah,
will
yeah.
review what we see after the swearing in of the ministers, and
And
we will, try
then
to
we
make
could
our.
go through the manifesto and take it one by one. You go take education or science and technology or community development or whatever ministries they will set up. We don't know yet how
Well, we will
different
see
they're
what
going
kind
to
of support we can provide.
Yes,
But
yes.
we depending, like people like Tim and his community to give us some feedback. What's going on with them? What is needed? We wanted to collect that kind of data.
Yes,
Yeah, no
And
correct.
problem. No problem. I just be around all over, not only in Laventille, but not
yeah.
a problem.
So what I'm saying to you, talk to the people in the other communities. Besides, we would like over here would like to get some feedback from them and hear from them. Also.
I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that.
All right then. Well, good night, everybody. Thank you for joining,
Take
All
care.
right,
And,
and
everyone.
see you
Thanks.
tomorrow night, 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
all
be
right.
safe. Be safe, everyone.
All
Bye.
right.
Good night.
Yeah, right. Nice. Everybody, good night.